take you down.
So you don't know anymore who's really good? Because the media can make a wicked man look good and make a good man look evil. That is why.
Check. You are watching a special edition of the Final Call News Hour with your man Herman Muhammad, coming live, recording live from Devil on the Run Studios, or aka Supreme Styles, at 5732 East Colfax Avenue. Now, this issue we are dealing with volume number 30, issue number 23, which reads, No Farrakhan ADL Dialogue. Jewish leader in Chicago reneges on call for meeting after Minister Farrakhan's powerful address to thousands at Nation of Islam convention. It's another major failure to attempt to resolve problems with the black-Jewish relations. And of course, this stems from the historic Savior's Day address that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave on February the 27th, 2011, dealing with God will send saviors. And in it, he dealt with the secret relationship between blacks and Jews, which was a key point of our annual Savior's Day convention. Now, I just want to read a little piece from this particular article, which appears on page 2 of this edition of the Final Call newspaper, and then I want to show you a picture of our beloved minister real quick while I read this. No sooner than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan ended his monumental Savior's Day 2011 keynote address to over 18,000 at the Allstate Arena, the controversy began. The Muslim leader's 4-hour-plus speech was reduced in the media to sound bites regarding Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, a brief mention of recording artist Rihanna, and an oblique reference to his words regarding L. Ron Hubbard and the Church of Scientology, along with the attacks directed at the Nation of Islam regarding the book The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Volume 2. The voice of Lani Nassatir, regional director of the Anti-Defamation League of Chicago, unexpectedly emerged in an apparent call for dialogue, breaking ranks with a long-standing no-talk policy of the ADL's national office. Okay, so again, this was the ADL's, one of their officials who said that, you know, he was open to a dialogue, but of course, subsequent to that, it was a no-go, of course, especially after Minister Farrakhan's powerful address. And so they continued to call him anti-Semitic. They continue to call him anti-white, anti-this, anti-that, without offering a shed of evidence to support those claims and those accusations. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about, you know, so pick up the Final Call, and again, that appears on page 2 of that particular issue. Another issue that came up was the town hall meeting to be held in Pittsburgh by our sister, Bev Smith. And Sister Bev Smith went really hard in basically defending Minister Farrakhan and letting the Jewish people know that they cannot control who we allow at our events. So big props, mad props go out to Sister Bev Smith and her radio show, which appears on WVON in Chicago. Another one that you want to jump up on in regards to WVON is on Cliff Kelly's show. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan appeared for at least an hour and change on this particular radio show on WVON. So you can go to WVON.com and get that interview in its entirety. Right? So pick that up. Absolutely. And let me say this too. On page 12 of this edition of the Final Call News Hour, and in the Final Call newspaper, an article appears on Libya. And like we referenced earlier, you know, Minister Farrakhan touched on Libya during his Savior's Day address and made it plain, made it clear that Muammar Gaddafi is a friend of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that he is a friend of the Nation of Islam, and that he is a friend of black liberation movements and freedom liberation movements all over the earth. So don't get it twisted, man. Don't believe what your enemy tells you. In Islam, we are taught that whenever an unrighteous person brings you news, look carefully into it lest you harm a person and be sorry for what you did. So it really behooves us to look carefully into whatever it is that they're accusing our brother Muammar Gaddafi of in Libya. And another thing to note in regards to that, the Egyptian protests that happened and the Tunisian protests that happened subsequent to that or previous to that, these were unarmed protesters. In the case of Libya, these are armed protesters who have a military strategy already employed. So it's important that we make that distinction, because that says that there were some plans that were being hatched. And I can't help but to believe that the United States government was complicit in those plans, considering the fact that they got 2 aircraft carriers posted off the coast of Libya. So just keep that in mind when you hear all these stories about Libya and other countries as to what America's motives are for getting involved in these conflicts. One last story, because we got a little bit of time. We're running up on it. The NAACP awards were held this past, I don't know. I really didn't even watch them. But there's an article that appears on page 5 of this issue of the Final Call, and it reads, NAACP awards show raises questions about power to make black images. And it says negative. This is written by Sister Starla Muhammad, and it starts out, negative, buffoonish, and demeaning portrayal and images of blacks in the entertainment industry is nothing new. Whether it's sexually suggestive or violent lyrics in music, half-naked women gyrating in music videos, or objectionable characters portrayed on the small and big screen, the image of blacks in music, television, and film is more of an issue today than it was 2 years ago, say industry critics. So, it goes on. Therefore, shows like the annual NAACP Image Awards became a vehicle that allowed black entertainers to be appreciated for their work. The 42nd NAACP Image Awards, held this year on March 4th in Los Angeles at the Shrine Auditorium and broadcast on Fox, are billed as a multicultural award show from an African American point of view, and also honor civil rights advocates, politicians, authors, and community service activists. Now let me say this in regards to the NAACP Image Awards, and this is the 42nd annual, not the 40th like we have on the screen here. But let me say this. In the past, they've honored our black actors for their accomplishments, and we applaud them for that. But this year, you know, aside from the demeaning lyrics and some of the questionable artists that they invited to perform on this year's show, the issue I have with is not over those artists, even though I'm with people who have problems with that as well. What I have a problem with is this disgusting piece of a film that was put out by Tyler Perry called For Color Girls. Because the NAACP awarded this the best film of the year. And if you've seen the Final Call News Hour before, you know how I feel about this particular picture. Wasn't worth the film that it was filmed on, and Tyler Perry needs to be, I don't know, talked to about putting that sort of film out on the air. But let me say this. It shouldn't surprise us, because let's look at the acronym for this award show, the NAACP. The NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Of colored people, no less. And For Colored Girls wins the best picture of the year. So listen, man, I'm gonna just keep it real, and I'm gonna just keep it non-emotional. It shouldn't surprise me that an organization that still calls itself colored would choose a film that is for colored girls only as the best film of the year. That's my 2 cents. And y'all see the film, especially black men, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. But that's my 2 cents, man. I just want to say keep it locked, pick up the latest Final Call, and come to our study group at 1440 Iola Street, the Respect for Life bookstore, and come visit us at Supreme Styles, the greatest, blackest, baddest barbershop on the planet. And we out.
Yeah.
Oh, and visit our blog, www.astar2.com. Now we out.
Yeah. The cool. Turn me up. Yeah. He came back in the same suit that he was buried in. Similar